Dr. Bill Adams here, and do we have a No Spin Live for you today? We're going to be talking about, can breast implants get too big, and what do we do? And then we're going to talk about Dear Abby, and she just discussed breast implants with somebody. And we've got three incredible plastic surgeons to share insights with you. Dr. Dustin Reed from Austin, Texas. Dr. Louis Rios from Edinburgh, Texas. And we could have had all Texas No Spin, Jason, but last but not least, and not from Texas, but it's from Boca Raton, Dr. Jason Posner. All right, so you guys, we got some real stories for you to get into. I don't know what to say, but this first one, the first one's on this deal about the British woman, UK somewhere. She has the largest breast implants, and she's planning to go larger. And I think somebody sent this in to us because this can be issues that we see. A lot of times people think that they need to get as big an implant as they can. And I know you guys have some great insights. So Dustin, lead us off.
Well, I think we've been over this before.
Can never get too many.
For safety reasons, I think it's a bad idea that we do these giant implants. I don't know how we stop these circus type people. It's just a bad idea, and it's going to end up with a bad outcome.
Louis, what do you think?
Well, Bill, I'm from Texas just like you, so I'm going to put on my little cowboy hat here because in Texas, we like things bigger in Texas, right? Everything's bigger in Texas, but you know what? This lady is much bigger than probably most of our patients will want to go, maybe even bigger than what they do in California, although we'll have to check that. This just goes to show that when patients come into the office, we have to do a careful consult, and we got to figure out what their motivations are, kind of make a cursory psychological examination and try to figure out, what's going on here. And in this case, this lady may have what we call body dysmorphic syndrome, where she thinks she does not look good and needs to keep operating on herself in order to get a good appearance. And if you look at her pictures, she's actually probably was quite attractive until she started doing all these surgeries. So I think, this is just a lesson for us to be very careful, make sure, and if we don't really feel comfortable with the motivations of our patients, we don't have to operate on everybody who walks in the door.
Yeah, I tell you what, Jason, you look at those pictures and there's definitely out of proportion. It said she had 3,200 cc implants and she wanted to go to 5,000. We all see this, but you have some insights, I know, Jason, into this.
A little bit of experience with patients this big, but first of all, what idiot's going to operate on her? That's what I want to know. Maybe someone outside the U.S. or someone not board certified. The issue is, first of all, what implant does she have? The largest implant that I know of available in the U.S. is a saline implant that has a manufacturer's overfill rate to 960 cc, the Mentor Moderate plus saline. That, as far as I know, is the largest one that's out there right now. So who's ever taken that up, they're really taking it to a high level. It probably won't break for a great deal larger than that. I think Hilton Becker did a study where he filled them to 30 liters, and that was the break point of this implant, was 30 liters. So it's got a while to break, but certainly her tissues are not going to support a 5-liter implant. I've taken out a couple in the 3,000 cc range and reconstructed them, been okay. But, just asking for trouble. I don't know what idiot's going to work on her and increase her size from 3 to 5,000.
So it doesn't matter if what the biggest size in the U.S. is, and she'll find somebody somewhere that will do it. And that's the problem. How do you stop this type of example? I agree with what both of you have said, that you got to choose your patients wisely, counsel them. That's why they come to us. But this person's got it in their head, and that's hard to stop that.
Yeah, there may be something psychological there, but probably the more common thing that's seen, and it's just ubiquitously prevalent on the internet, is that this misnomer that you should pick an implant and then go with a bigger size because you're going to want to go bigger later. So how do you guys handle that? Dustin, what's your message to patients about that?
There is a little bit of truth about the Texas thing here. And what I will do with patients is I will guide them into a safe range and then say that, I'm comfortable going to the high side of this range, but I won't take you outside of that for safety reasons, for complication rates, etc. So I don't let them demand the size that we use. I guide them, and then they can kind of demand within that range.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what our job is to put it out there and go over the risks. And sometimes, they've been told to go big or go home, or all their friends are telling them, the side of the story of, I wish I'd gone bigger. And so we got to kind of give them the alternative story of what happens when you go too big. And then, it's a free world. So that if you're not going to operate on them, they could either take your advice or they can go somewhere else. But we've got to be ethical, and we've got to let them know that, because the studies are out there that show that bigger implants their fullness doesn't last as long, their form doesn't last as long. So they need to know this and put that into the equation when they're making the decision.
Final word, Jason.
You know what? Trends in my office are getting a little smaller these days. I'm finding many women now, as I'm getting older, that I operated on many years ago, and now they're into menopause. They got some natural growth to their breasts, and what implants we put in a while ago are now even bigger. So I tend to see more consults now for downsizing and lifts than I do for giant implants. So,
Bill, I am seeing that too in my office, and I don't know if it's also like some sort of phenomenon on TV from Brazil. But I've had a slew of patients coming and downsizing and wanting mastopexies. And I don't know if that's because there's a Latin American influence with that, where now we're kind of seeing smaller, perkier breasts coming from Latin America. And maybe people here on the border of South Texas are seeing that and demanding a little bit more of that. So it's kind of good to see that trend starting to show up in the offices.
Let's move on to the next story. Dear Abby, I didn't even know that Dear Abby is still answering letters, but we thought this was an odd story because she's answering this lady that's saying she has breast implants and she's not sure she should tell her, I think it's her boyfriend currently, but they've been together for a long time. So Jason, I'm going to start with you this time, but did you find this odd, or what do you think about this?
It's funny. The longer you've been in practice, the less I find that's odd. And, it's like, okay, we've had many women who don't tell their boyfriends or husbands that they don't have breast implants. And I think it's her decision. If she doesn't want to tell them, who cares? And if he doesn't notice, then, whatever, that's fine by me. I don't think that down the road, if she has a problem or wants them changed, she has to deal with the problem later. But, he may hit the road in a few months. So she may be a problem that she won't have long term. So I just think that many women, it's your business, not anybody else's. And if you want to tell your significant other about your implants, good for you. If you don't, good for you too.
One thing you can probably conclude is she must have had a great result. She's had implants for 20 years, and if nobody can tell that they're there, I'm assuming.
That's kind of what I wanted to say about this situation. Is it kind of goes to show that sometimes breast implant surgery, or a lot of times now, we can get very natural results with scars that are almost imperceptible, especially with the current techniques and the new generation of implants. People can get a very natural result. And I think all of us have had patients like this in our office who've had boyfriends or husbands or partners who didn't know that they had breast implants. I think it just goes to show that we can get really natural results. And it also goes to show why sometimes in like these consumer markets like Real Self, this operation has like a 98% worth it rating, because I think, again, with the current implants, the new generation, our techniques, what we do, we can get really great and natural results these days for our patients.
But answer the question, should she tell them or not?
Okay, well, you know what? This is what I'm saying. If she gets married, he's going to sign the contract till death do us part, in sickness and in health. Oh, wait a minute. Are we talking about marriage in the 21st century? Yeah, I think she could go ahead and tell him.
Dustin, Knight, what do you think? So did Abby give her good advice? What do you think?
Yeah, the reality is that it's a testament to how long-lasting the results can be after breast augmentation. I think it may be a testament to how dumb or inexperienced most men are. I really think it's her business to tell. And so if she wants to tell him just like Abby said. And if he runs off after several years, then he's not the guy that she thought he was. But really, it's not any of his business if she doesn't want him to know.
Yeah, I tell you, that was I thought that was brilliant. She said, yeah, do what you want, but you should tell him. And if you're worried he's going to leave, you probably picked the wrong boyfriend anyway, right? I mean, that's like ridiculous. Interesting little quirky story, but I think you guys had some great insights. And if you want to see more of these, you can see them on theplasticsurgerychannel.com.